Ndewo, no, and welcome to your weekly catch-up for week 6. If you've had a busy week and didn't quite get round to listening to the Igbo Daily Drops, this is your chance to catch up. Now you get to hear all 5 episodes from week 6, brought together in one place. Our mission is simple, to raise 10,000 next generation Igbo speakers, and every phrase you practice brings us one step closer. Remember to download the workbook for the week, the free workbook for week 6 at learnibonow.com. Ka anyị bido. Let us begin. Ihuoma is 41. 6 months ago, she was a school administrator in Awka. Now, she is on the 5:48 a.m. bus out of Mississauga. Her warehouse lanyard still around her neck. Her feet aching inside steel-toed boots she never wore in her previous life. The man across the aisle is asleep against the window, his breath fogging the glass. Outside, the suburbs of Brampton slide past. Flat, wide, identical, silent. A Tim Hortons sign bleeds orange into the dark. She opens her phone. A WhatsApp voice note from her sister in Enugu. She doesn't play it yet. She just holds it. That little microphone icon. The shape of someone's mouth far away. She has learned in 6 months that Canada rewards the person who moves, the one who knows which counter to stand at, which office to call, which route to take before the other route fills up. Standing still and waiting, that does not work here. It does not work anywhere. If she's honest. She closes the voice note. Ana m ala ụlọ, she says it quietly. To no one. I am going home. Ndewo. No. I am Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo, heritage futurist and daughter of the soil. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. Episode 26, Week 6, Day 1, Monday. Today, 3 sentences that map your day and the ancient philosophy that proves the Igbo have always known how to move through the world. Ka anyị bido. Let us begin. Ihuoma said it on a bus in Brampton. But the Igbo said it first a long time ago. Anaghị anọ n'otu ebe ekiri mmọnwụ. Anaghị anọ n'otu ebe ekiri mmọnwụ. You do not stand in only one place to watch the masquerade. The masquerade moves. So must you. To see the whole thing, the full costume, the full dance, the full power, you must move with it. Stay fixed and you see only one angle, one side, one incomplete truth. This is not just wisdom about watching. It is wisdom about living. Today, 3 sentences that place you in motion, where you are going to work, where you are going to the market, where you are going home. 3 directions, 1 life. Ihuoma steps off. Cold hits her face like a flat palm. February in Ontario. She has not made peace with it yet, and she does not plan to. Her shift ended at 5 a.m. Before that, she was on her feet for 8 hours in a refrigerated warehouse on Airport Road, scanning parcels, her breath visible in front of her face the whole night. She was a school administrator in Awka. She managed staff, wrote policy, ran a department. She does not say this to anyone here. What would be the point? She learned quickly, the way the Igbo learn, which is to say immediately, completely, without ceremony, that Canada does not care what you wear. It cares only what you do next. So she moved. She found a warehouse before the other applicants found it. She took the night shift nobody wanted because it paid more. She is saving for the bridging program that will recognize her credentials. She is already on the wait list. Her cousin Emeka tried to warn her. "You will be humbled," he said, on a call from his apartment in Scarborough. Everyone is humbled first. She didn't argue. She just asked, which agency is hiring? Which bus goes to the industrial park? Which office handles credential assessment? He laughed. "You haven't changed." No, she hadn't. She gets on, finds a seat. A Nigerian woman across from her. She can tell. The way you can always tell. Catches her eye and nods. Ihoma nods back. That is enough. No words needed. The whole story in a nod. "Ana m aga ọrụ," the woman had probably said to her family this morning. "Ana m aga ahịa," she will say this afternoon. And tonight, "Ana m ala ụlọ," I am going home. The same 3 sentences, the same shape of a day. Whether you are in Awka or Brampton, you are still going somewhere. The train pulls out. Brampton falls away in the grey light. Ihoma puts in her earphones. She is tired. She is not defeated. Those are not the same thing. The man across from her is already on his phone, speaking Yoruba. She thinks, somewhere, someone is speaking Igbo on this train too. She just hasn't found them yet. I have watched this pattern my whole life. The Igbo person who arrives somewhere new and within 6 months has mapped the whole terrain, found the angles, not because they are not attached to where they came from, but because movement is in the culture. It always has been. Writing in the Journal of African Studies and Sustainable Development, 2019, Dr. Ikechukwu Anthony Kano of Tansian University, Umunya, Anambra State, studied this directly. He found that the Igbo deviate from the global norm of migration. Most migrants, and indeed the Igbo, acquire wealth abroad and repatriate it home. The Igbo build where they land. They take titles. They establish community. They become forces in the new place without ceasing to be Igbo. Kano calls the Igbo a people whose cultural paradigm does not go extinct. It broadens through encounter. His image for this is exact. The African flower called never die. It dries in drought. The first rain comes. It sprouts again. The Igbo-ness survives difficult conditions, not by being rigid, but by being alive. The chameleon changes color. Its substance never changes. The Igbo move across the world. Their Igbo-ness never leaves. Migration isn't loss. It is the masquerade seen from every angle. Now, let us build your drops for today. Repeat after me. 1. Ana m aga ọrụ. I am going to work. Ana m aga ọrụ. Ana m aga ọrụ. 2. Ana m aga ahịa. I am going to the market. Ana m aga ahịa. Ana m aga ahịa. 3. Ana m ala ụlọ. I am going home. Ana m ala ụlọ. Ana m ala ụlọ. Take this with you. The masquerade has many angles, and so does your day. You go to work, you go to the market, you come home. 3 movements. Not one of them is small. Each one is the Igbo survival instinct in action. Before this day ends, say Ana m ala ụlọ. Not in practice. Say it when you're actually on your way home. Let the language ride the moment it was made for. Every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. Grab your free speaking workbook at learnibonow.com. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop. Abụ m nwanne gị nwanyị Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. I am your sister Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. Ka ụzọ gị dị mma, ka ọ kpọlaa gị ụlọ. May your path be good. May it take you home. Ka anyị hụ echi. Until we meet again tomorrow. Chidiebere, 37, Belmont, Port of Spain. He is walking down Jerningham Avenue on a Tuesday afternoon, not thinking about anything in particular, when it hits him. The smell comes from a window above a hardware shop. Someone up there is cooking giawai. He knows this before he knows it. Palm oil, onions, crayfish, and underneath everything, the deep salt smoke of azu amirami, smoked fish, seasoned and dried, and the specific starchy sweetness of yams softening in the pot. He stops walking. He has not smelled that smell in 11 years. His grandmother, Nwozuru, suddenly everywhere. Ndewo. No. I am Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo, futurist and daughter of the soil. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. Episode 26, Week 6, Day 2, Tuesday. The sentences that name what the body never forgot. Ka anyị bido. Let us begin. The Igbo have a saying for what happened to Chidiebere on Jerningham Avenue. Ihe ị na-achọ n'oke elu dị n'oke ala. Ihe ị na-achọ n'oke elu dị n'oke ala. The thing you are searching for on the top shelf, it was always on the bottom shelf. His grandmother, the language, the smell of that pot. He never had to search. He never had to go anywhere. It was always there, one street away, waiting in someone's kitchen, ready to stop him in his tracks. Today you learn to say what you are doing right now as you do it. Eating, drinking, eating yam. Present tense. The tense of arrival. 3 sentences and 1 architecture that will stay with you the rest of your life. His grandmother Nwozuru came to Trinidad as a young Igbo bride, and she never stopped being Igbo. She spoke English, she spoke Creole. She moved through Belmont as if she had been born there. But when she was excited or angry or in love with something, she went back to Igbo, automatically, like a door swinging open. She smoked her own fish, azu bambam, mackerel, that she seasoned herself with her own spices and dried in the sun and the smoke until it became azu amirami. Everyone in the family had an Igbo name. Chidiebere, his mother Odinaka, his uncle Nnamdi, his sister Uzamaka. None of them, growing up, understood this was unusual. Giawai yam pottage was a one-pot thing. Nwozuru never made it any other way. Yam in the water first, then everything at once. The palm oil, the onions, the pepper, the crayfish, the stock, the salt, the smoked fish broken in by hand. Cook it down until the yam is soft on the outside but still firm at the center, soggy but present. Comfort that holds its shape. She would say something over the pot when she stirred it. Igbo words. Nobody asked what they meant. Now Chidiebere is standing on Jerningham Avenue with a smell in his nose and 11 years of distance between himself and his grandmother's kitchen, and something in his chest has cracked open in the way that only smell can crack things open, without warning, without mercy, without asking whether you are ready. Ana m eri nri. Can hear her voice saying it, though he did not know until this moment that was what she was saying. I am eating food. Come, sit. Ana m eri ji. I am eating yam. You eat too. He does not go upstairs. He does not knock on the stranger's door. He stands on the pavement and he receives it. The smell, the memory, the language he grew up inside without knowing it was a language. And when he starts walking again, he is already looking for somewhere to buy yam. Ana m aṅụ mmiri. He stops at the standpipe. He drinks. He goes to find his grandmother's pot. When I think about what happened to Chidiebere on that pavement, I think about what the elders understood about the relationship between smell and memory, that the nose is the oldest archive. Maureen Warner-Lewis, scholar of African linguistics and diaspora studies at the University of the West Indies, Mona, documented in her seminal 1991 work, Guinea's Other Sons, The African Dynamic in Trinidad Culture, the continued presence of Igbo linguistic and cultural survivals, from naming patterns and food vocabulary to ceremonial language, in Trinidadian families unaware of their Igbo origins. Nwozuru naming every child. Nwozuru saying things over the pot. These are the patterns Warner-Lewis found across communities. The culture did not disappear. It went into the kitchen. It went into the names. Among the Yoruba, the ancestral knowledge held in food practice and domestic ritual is understood as Imo Agbalagba, elder wisdom embedded in daily life. The same understanding exists in Igbo thought, and in every culture that survived forced displacement by hiding what it knew in the ordinary. Neuroscientists studying the olfactory system have confirmed what the Igbo grandmother practiced every day. Smell bypasses the cognitive brain entirely and connects directly to the limbic system, the seat of emotion and long-term memory. No other sense does this. You cannot think your way into a smell's memory. It arrives before thought. It arrived before he was ready. The bottom shelf. It was always the bottom shelf. Now let's build your drops for today. Repeat after me. 1. Ana m eri nri. I am eating food. Ana m eri nri. Ana m eri nri. 2. Ana m aṅụ mmiri. I am drinking water. Ana m aṅụ mmiri. Ana m aṅụ mmiri. 3. Ana m eri ji. I am eating yam. Ana m eri ji. Ana m eri ji. Take this with you. Ihe ị na-achọ n'oke elu dị n'oke ala. The thing you have been searching for on the top shelf was always in the bottom shelf. Your grandmother's language, your people's food, the smell that stopped you on a Tuesday afternoon and cracked you open without asking permission. Before this day is done, say Ana m eri ji to yourself as you eat. Not to practice, to remember that you were always already home. Every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. Grab your free speaking workbook at learnibonow.com. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop. Abụ m nwanne gị nwanyị Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. I am your sister Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. Ka isi ji awaị gị taa ruo gị n'ime, ka ọ kpọlaa gị ụlọ. May the smell of your yam pottage today reach inside you and take you home. Ka anyị hụ echi, until we meet again tomorrow. David is 62, born in Bristol. He sits at a kitchen table that has not changed in 40 years. Morning light comes through a net curtain, pale, English, thin. On the table, a blue metal biscuit tin, its lid still on. He has known about this tin for 11 years. He has never once opened it. He opens it now. His thumb hovers above the photograph. He does not touch it yet. Ndewo. No. I am Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo, heritage futurist and daughter of the soil. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops, episode 27, week 6, day 2, Tuesday. Today, the 3 sentences that carry you home when the door was closed before you were born. Ka anyị bido. Let us begin. There is an Igbo proverb that has been waiting for David his whole life. Onye ajụjụ anaghị efu ụzọ. One who asks questions does not lose their way. In Igbo thought, the question is not the sign of not knowing. The question is the protection against staying lost. David has been asking for 62 years. The asking is what kept him on the road. Today you will learn to say you are learning, to name the language as your own, and to claim the act of discovery. 3 sentences, 1 return journey. David was born in Bristol in 1962. His mother was English. His father arrived from Nigeria on a student visa, studied engineering at Bristol University, and navigated a city that hung no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, in boarding house windows without apparent embarrassment. The relationship lasted 2 years. The deportation came after David was placed in care. He grew up with the surname Nwachukwu and no explanation for it, in a care home in Knoll West, then a series of foster placements. The name followed him everywhere, arriving before him in rooms, pulling faces across school rolls. 40 years later, his adoptive mother died. In her things, the tin, a note. These were his. I thought you should have them. David looks at the photograph now. The man is young, younger than David is, standing in front of a building David does not recognize. Shoulders back, one hand in his pocket. He reaches for his phone. He has been listening to something, a podcast. For 3 weeks he has been listening, on the bus, in the bath, in the small hours. He has been practicing. He looks at the man in the photograph and speaks to the kitchen. Ana m amụ asụsụ Igbo. I am learning the Igbo language. His voice does not shake, which surprises him. He tries the second one. Ọ bụ asụsụ nna m. It is my father's language. The word nna sits differently than he expected. It means father. He has said it now, in the man's own tongue. Nna. It is not nothing. He closes his eyes, opens them, looks at the suit in the photograph, the pressed lapel, the particular pride of it. Ana m amụta ihe ọhụrụ. I am learning something new. The biscuit tin is still on the table. The tin is the same. David is not. I have sat with many people who have carried names they could not explain. And the thing I have watched them fear most is this, that the door is already closed, that they left it too long, that the belonging expired. I need you to hear what Igbo customary law actually says about that. Every child, regardless of where they were born, regardless of how they were raised, regardless of how much time has passed, is permanently and irrevocably identified with the village of their father. Not provisionally, not conditionally, permanently. There is a recorded account of a man born during wartime, raised entirely by his mother's people, who never knew his father. When he returned to his father's village as an adult, a stranger, with no proof beyond his own word, the elders ruled in his favor without hesitation. He was absorbed fully into his biological family. He assumed the rights of a firstborn son. His return was met with jubilation. The door was never locked. Igbo culture built the door so it cannot lock. In 1999, American family therapist Dr. Pauline Boss at the University of Minnesota named the grief David has been carrying ambiguous loss. Loss without closure. Loss that offers no ritual for completion. The most psychologically corrosive form of grief, she found, because society provides no ceremony for it, no funeral, no mourning period. What Boss needed a research program to describe, Igbo society preempted with law. The grief is real, but the belonging was never in question. The elders already ruled. Onye ajụjụ anaghị efu ụzọ. David has been asking. He was never going to lose his way. Now, let us build your drops for today. Repeat after me. 1. Ana m amụ asụsụ Igbo. I am learning the Igbo language. Ana m amụ asụsụ Igbo. Ana m amụ asụsụ Igbo. 2. Ọ bụ asụsụ nna m. It is my father's language. Ọ bụ asụsụ nna m. Ọ bụ asụsụ nna m. 3. Ana m amụta ihe ọhụrụ. I am learning something new. Ana m amụta ihe ọhụrụ. Ana m amụta ihe ọhụrụ. Onye ajụjụ anaghị efu ụzọ. The asking is the protection. You are here, which means you have been asking, whether you named it that or not. Before this day is done, say, Ana m amụta ihe ọhụrụ. Not to practice. Say it to something that has been waiting. A name, a photograph, a question you have not yet allowed yourself to ask aloud. The door was never locked. You just needed to knock. Every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. Grab your free speaking workbook at learnibonow.com. And if this episode found you, leave us a review. Your review is how the next person who is searching finds their way home. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop. Abụ m nwanne gị nwaanyị Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. I am your sister Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. Ka ajụjụ gị meghere gị ụzọ. May your questions open the door for you. Ka anyị hụ echi. Until we meet again tomorrow. Nwaamaka is 32. She is afraid to sleep. Her daughter is 6 days old, lying in a foam crib beside the bed in a flat off Abakbanike Road, Enugu. The ceiling fan clicks. Dawn has not arrived. Her breasts ache. Her back feels borrowed. Her mother, Lolo Ifeoma, came from Abombise 3 days ago. She is already awake. Of course she is. The kettle is on. A small enamel bowl waits on the wooden chair. The room smells of hot water, baby soap, and Oziza soup warming slowly in the kitchen. The baby stirs. Nwaamaka jerks upright. Her mother does not. Ndewo. No. I am Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo, heritage futurist and daughter of the soil. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. Episode 29, Week 6, Day 4, Thursday. Today, 3 Igbo sentences for sleep, rest, and listening, and the maternal science the Igbo built long before the world found language for it. Ka anyị bido. There is an Igbo truth for what is happening in this room. Ịrahụ ụra, iche uche. When you sleep, you take thought. Sleep is not absence. It is not switching off. In Igbo understanding, the sleeping mind is not resting from thought. It is doing the deepest thinking of all. What cannot be processed in daylight finds its shape in the dark. The body stops. The spirit works. Nwamaka does not know yet how much she needs this to be true. Today you will learn to say, I am sleeping, I am resting, I am listening. 3 sentences, 3 different kinds of quiet. All of them count as work. Lolo Ifeoma lifts the baby before the cry fully forms. She holds the child the way women hold things they have held 1,000 times. No adjustment, just knowledge. She says to Nwamaka without turning, Ana m ege ntị. I am listening. Listen first, then respond. The baby swallows. The cry was hunger, not distress. Lolo Ifeoma is already reaching for the cloth. Good, she says. Not every sound is emergency. By 6, the flat is alive. A cousin arrives with pap in a flask. In the kitchen, onions hit oil. Nwamaka's phone lights up on the pillow. Messages from her office in Independence Layout. A friend in London asking for photos. The whole world already asking the new mother to return it intact. Auntie Uju laughs when she sees her still on the bed. Madam Banker, you have not stood up since I came. Nwamaka finds the sentence before she finds the argument. Ana m ezu ike. I am resting. The room goes quiet. Then her mother answers for her. Nke ahụ bụ ọrụ ya ugbu a. That is her work right now. Nwamaka stares at the ceiling. Her phone vibrates again. The whole life she was 4 days ago is still sending messages, still expecting her back. Her mother rubs her shoulders with slow, practiced hands. The uziza smell is stronger now, good and green. Sleep, her mother says. Nwamaka resists, because she has not yet learned to receive. What if the baby wakes? What if someone needs something? Her mother cuts through it. Ọ bụrụ na ịrahụghị ụra mgbe ụlọ na-echebe ụra gị, ị na-eme ụlọ ihe ọjọọ. If you do not sleep when the house is protecting your sleep, you are doing a bad thing to the house. That line makes her laugh. She folds one arm beneath her cheek. The pillow is cool on one side. For the first time in 6 days, she lets the whole weight of her body touch the bed. Ana m ehi ụra, she whispers. I am sleeping. And she does. Not for long. But when she wakes, the light has shifted. The child is fed. Her own breathing is no longer chasing itself. My own mother specifically came from Nigeria to London 3 times for Omugwo. Once for each of my children. She stopped work. She crossed the distance. She arrived. And every time, Within hours of landing, she had made mmiri for me to eat. Mmiri is an Mbise broth made of fish, meat, stockfish, yam, and herbs. The Mbise women have always known. Herbs that help the womb contract. Herbs that support milk production. She did not explain the pharmacology. She made the pot. She bathed each baby in the evening. Warm water on horrid hands. Because a baby that is bathed is a drowsy baby. And a drowsy baby means the mother sleeps. She knew the sequence. She had always known it. We call what she was doing Omugwo, postpartum care. Writing in Innovation in Aging, 2024, Anthony Obinna Iwuagwu of the University of Nigeria Nsukka, the first researcher to study Omugwo empirically, interviewed 17 grandmothers in Imo State and found that every single one perceived the practice as reducing postpartum stress and maternal mortality. The grandmothers described it not as sacrifice, but as reciprocity. My mother came for mine, so I come for my daughters. The practice heals in both directions. Iwuagwu also found that grandmothers who traveled for Omugwo reported decreased loneliness. The journey itself was a reward. Other traditions have always held the same knowledge. The Maasai of Kenya and Tanzania protect a new mother in full community care. The Ayurvedic tradition of India prescribes 40 days of rest, warm food, and massage. The shape is the same everywhere. The knowledge is human. What my mother brought and cooked in that pot, the herbs, the fish, the specific sequence of the evening bath, neuroscience now calls postpartum cortisol co-regulation. The Igbo grandmother did not need the name. She had the practice. She had the broth. She had her hands. The science arrived late. My mother did not. Now, let us build your drops for today. Repeat after me. 1. Ana m ehi ụra. I am sleeping. Ana m ehi ụra. Ana m ehi ụra. 2. Ana m ezu ike. I am resting. Ana m ezu ike. Ana m ezu ike. 3. Ana m ege ntị. I am listening. Ana m ege ntị. Ana m ege ntị. Take this with you. Ịrahụ ụra, iche uche. When you sleep, you take thought. Today, that proverb means something you did not know this morning. Rest is not the pause between things that matter. Rest is what makes the thinking possible, what makes the care possible, what makes the returning possible. Before this day is done, say, Ana m ezu ike. Not to practice, to mean it, to someone who needs to hear that you have given yourself permission. Every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. Grab your free speaking workbook at learnibonow.com. Rate us wherever you're listening. Your review is how another learner finds their way home. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop. Abụ m nwanne gị nwanyị Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. I am your sister Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. ka ọ dị mma na ọmụgwọ gị ma ọ bụ onye ị na-enye ya. May your ọmụgwọ be well, whether you're receiving it or giving it. Ka anyị hụ echi, until we meet again tomorrow. Oge Chika, 22, Alaba International Market, Ojo, Lagos. Row C, line 7, her mother's stall. The soldering iron smell, 3 stalls down. Her mother is in Anambra for a funeral. The shutter key is in Oge Chika's hand. Hands flat on the glass. A Togolese man stops. He asks about something in French. She does not speak French. Not enough Igbo either. Her mother bargained in Igbo, thought in Igbo. Oge Chika thinks in Lagos English. Ndewo. No. I am Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo, heritage futurist and daughter of the soil. Welcome to Igbo Daily Drops. Episode 30, Week 6, Day 5, Friday. Today, the language of transaction. What you say when you are buying, and the question that changes everything. Ka anyị bido. Let us begin. The Igbo have a proverb for this. Onye asịrị ya bịa buru ozu, ọ sị na ya ebunubeghị ya mbụ. Ọ ga-eji onye dị ndụ wee mụta. Onye asịrị ya bịa buru ozu, ọ sị na ya ebunubeghị ya mbụ. Ọ ga-eji onye dị ndụ were mụta. One who declines to carry a dead body or a coffin or a corpse, saying he has never done it, does he wish to start with a living person? You learn by doing. Today, 3 Igbo sentences. Name what you need. Ask the price. The Togolese man is patient. He has been in Alaba long enough to know that a new face behind the counter means something. He points. A portable speaker. 3rd shelf. Box still sealed. Oge Chika picks it up. Heavier than she expected. She knows the cost price. Her mother wrote it in a notebook. Blue biro. Page dog-eared. But the selling price, that depends on the customer. Depends on the back and forth that Oge Chika has watched her whole life and never properly learned. Ana m azụta ji. The phrase arrives from nowhere. A memory. Her mother at Eke market in the village, holding a yam tuber and saying it out loud to teach her. 8 years old, not paying attention. Ana m azụta ncha. Buying soap. Buying yam. The structure is the same. You name what you want and the sentence holds it. Another customer arrives. A woman, 2 children, one on her back. She speaks Igbo directly to Oge Chika, fast and certain. The woman is buying a phone. She picks it up, turns it over, sets it down. Then the question Oge Chika knows. The one she has heard 1,000 times from the other side of the counter. Ego ole ka a na-ere ya? How much is it being sold for? Ogechika looks down at the notebook. Her mother's handwriting. The number is there. She says it. The woman pulls out a bundle of notes. The transaction begins. The Togolese man is still waiting. He is smiling a little. He has seen this before. A young woman learning the trade on the floor. Not in a classroom. Behind the glass. What Ogechika was doing is not a language problem. It is an economic inheritance problem. In 2016, Dr. Mufutau Akambi Awoniyi of Lagos State University found that 82% of Alaba entrepreneurs are Igbo. Dominance built on trust networks and trade language. In 2000, De Soto argued the developing world lacked not goods but trust systems. Igbo market women had already built them through language. The notebook records the price. The language holds the market. Now, let us build your drops for today. Repeat after me. 1. Ana m azụta ji. I am buying yam. Ana m azụta ji. Ana m azụta ji. 2. Ana m azụta ncha. I am buying soap. Ana m azụta ncha. Ana m azụta ncha. 3. Ego ole ka a na-ere ya? How much is it being sold for? Ego ole ka a na-ere ya? Ego ole ka a na-ere ya? Take this with you. Onye a sịrị ya bịa buru ozu. You learn by doing. You open the shutter not knowing the price. You begin. Say ego ole ka a na-ere ya today. Notice how it lands. Say it to someone who will not expect Igbo from you. Say, Ana m azụta ncha. Watch their face. Every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. Grab your free speaking workbook at learnibonow.com. Rate us wherever you're listening. Your review is how another learner finds their way home. This has been your Igbo Daily Drop. Abụ m nwanne gị nwanyị, Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. I am your sister, Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. Ka ọrụ aka gị dị ọcha. May the work of your hands be clean, and may every transaction carry your name with honor. Ka anyị hụ echi. Until we meet again tomorrow. And that brings us to the end of this week's Igbo Daily Drops Omnibus. If a sentence or proverb stayed with you today, take a moment to say it again out loud as many times as you can. Every phrase you practice keeps the language alive. And remember that every sentence you learn is a drop, and every drop feeds Oke Osimiri Mmụta Igbo, the ocean of Igbo knowledge. If you'd like to practice these lessons further, don't forget to download the workbook for week 6 at learnibonow.com. Until tomorrow's drop, abụ nwanne gị nwanyị, Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. I am your sister, Yvonne Chioma Mbanefo. Ka chi gị duo gị ọfụma. May your chi guide you well. Ka o mesịa. Goodbye.